Welcome back, everyone, to the Song of Waves and Wind, where last time I was tasked with thinning out the number of some of the local wildlife when I heard a shout from Sigalith and Celartus to meet with them, and apparently they found a body. What's going on here?
I have found the body of a dead man.
Do you think that this might be Saduk, who disappeared from Galburu?
No, I do not think this dead man is Saduk after all.
I think that this man might instead have been Balachad. I think that this was the son of Balakor, and that he was the last of the heirs of Kostamir. Ooh, that's interesting. Well, I suppose I'll go and examine him to see if he could be Balachad. Let's see what we got here. This man is not dead. He is breathing as shallow, but he is still alive. For now. Not quite dead yet.
He lives still. He will not live for long without water.
This man may already have gone too long without water. Here, give him some of this, but slowly, or you might harm him more than heal. Well, I think he'll get in too much worse shape than he already is. Let's try it. There you go. Some of the water passes parched lips, but more of it spills into the sand. Oh, well.
That may help him if he is not already beyond saving.
How did he come to be so far from the road? What happened to him after he left the tomb of Nirgambar, where we lost his trail? He would not have purposely left his satchel in the tomb if he planned to spend days alone in the heat. Cerlatus, would your people give him aid to a man who's near death? Well, what do you say about that?
The Kintai do not willingly refuse their aid when they have the ability to give it.
I will return with haste to Shonith and tell Taranshil that there is need for her healing arts. Okay. And I guess that leaves us two to carry the man.
I have a question for you.
As the son of Balakor and the last of the heirs of Kostamir, Balakad is undeniably an enemy of not only the kingdom of Gondor, but of my people specifically. The hatred of the Airsworn for elves is well known. It is in our power to help him. If our paths had not crossed his, he likely would have died without our knowledge. And yet, here we stand. What's the right course? It is a difficult question, but this is my answer. If the healing arts of the Kintai are sufficient to coax him back to health, he may tell us what Azagoth and Akasi are planning, or where they have gone. Whatever he knows may be of crucial importance to us. It is perhaps a meaningless choice, for Sirtas has already gone to tell Tharashil that we found him. To return now without him would be difficult to explain. Let us go to the oasis of Shonith and learn if the healing arts of the Kintai will resolve this philosophical difficulty for us, or raise further such questions. Right. Well, I guess I won't be go searching for ghosts now. It is time for us to carry a dying man. Well, let's see what her response is.
Celetas has told me of your dead man, and a place has been made for him.
The healers who dwell here in Shonith will see what can be done for his injuries. But he spent too much exposed in the harsh environment of the desert to recover quickly, or completely. A single day and night without cover would be too many, and he suffered several. It is not customary for the Kintai to welcome men such as he to our groves. He is here at your request, and Siegelitz's. The two of you must be responsible for him. Oh, wonderful. You will find him behind the pavilions to the north of the water here in Shinoth. All right, that's... All right, well, thank you. Here is the pavilion, and I think they said behind the pavilion? Ah, well, apparently he's managed to survive the trip. Balakaz's voice is dry and raspy. He stares wildly around himself, and you are put in mind of an animal caught in a trap. He sees the elves gathered nearby, and his cracked lips curl in a sneer. You're going to kill me? You tell him that the elves of the oasis have agreed to try to heal his various hurts, and may have already saved his life. You ask him how he came to be by himself in the desert, and say too that you know the water-bearer Saduk helped him escape from the kindred of the coins. Despite the sun damage of his scorched skin, his expression of confusion on his face is readily apparent. How do you know all of this? He asks.
There is no freedom for me. I have only traded one set of captors for another, and then another.
The Uruk-hai wanted me dead. The kindred freed me from them, but only so that they might have the privilege of seeing me slain. And these elves... Balakad weakly raises an arm and gestures to the Kentai nearby. His mouth drops open with an expression of disgust and alarm. What? What's wrong with this one? Oh, has she become untethered again? Ciliarta stands beside the wounded man, her expression slack and her eyes empty and unseeing. Balakad stares up at her with an expression of disgust visible on his sun-damaged face. It's a long story.
She lives, but she is unaware of her surroundings. She works some vile elf magic against us.
Oh boy! Oh my goodness gracious. No, the vile elf magic is being worked upon her, I think.
Remember that you live only at the behest of the King Tai, Balakad.
You would be wise to keep a politic tongue in your head, or you may find yourself once again left to die in the desert. That is what happened to you, is it not? You left in Umbar in the company of Azagoth and Nakasi, but your friends thought to abandon you within the inhospitable waste. They exhausted whatever use they had of you and left you to die.
They are no friends of mine.
He hisses, and you're surprised to see the quivering of his eyes. If he was not so parched, he might weep. If I tell you what they said, you will let me go? You will not allow these elves to work their terrible enchantments upon me?
I would tell you what they said. I would tell you everything.
Oh, well, let's go and hear his story.
Azagoth slew my captors in Jerush, but I felt no gratitude to him. I fled from him, seeking somewhere to hide.
Memories of my frightening escape from Jerush flashed before my eyes. The Uruk-hai barring Azagoth's approach to my cell, the intruder raising his arms, the soldiers falling to the floor as the dark sorcery stole the very life from their bodies. I knew that he would follow me, but I sought to get as far from his dreadful presence as I could. Ooh, yeah, that sounds like anyone's response to Azagoth. Even as I cowered in the tomb, I knew no chamber would be deep enough to hide from him. Uh-oh. You seek to save us some efforts, son of Balachor. Was the hospitality of my city insufficient? Your city? Umbar Baharbel belonged to my father and to my mother. When they sold it to the Hul of the Ordak, then they gave up all claim to it. The kindred of the coins has given it back to the Umbari people. And when the song is ready... Yeah, that's the song! Let us not speak of that in front of an enemy, Nakal. Aww! How can it matter? He will not leave this chamber. I'm still trying to figure out why this is called the Song of Waves and Wind. Yes, what about the song? What about the song? More about the song. Even through the haze of my fear, one thing was clear to me. Azagoth and Nakasi might have been possessed of shared purpose, but their tolerance for one another has begun already to wear thin. Whatever they hoped to accomplish, every day that passed wore upon their alliance. In my desperation, I hoped to take advantage of this eroding trust for each other, but I could not think of an effective means to accomplish it. I must be more useful to you alive? That depends upon what you can tell us, Balachad. I can tell you the location of an army of Eresworn. They prepare to retake the city. Only I can order them to relent. He thinks that we're stupid. Tell him the manner of his death, Nakasi, if he fails to tell us something of use. Oh? Nakasi removed from her garment a small glass phial containing an oily substance that glittered even in the dim light of the chamber. I knew it for its terrible reputation. Nargach, the hungry fire. Longest burning and deadliest of the alchemic weapons ever used in the war throughout Shagana and in Umbar. My father searched for stores of Nangach that might have evaded destruction over the centuries, but he never found any. The last sages who knew the secret of its making were put to the sword 100 years ago. Oh, boy, probably for good. Even a small quantity of Nargach as Nakasi possessed had not been seen in Umbar for many years. I believe the hungry fire to have left the world. It's what you say. Probably been better if it had. I remember my crew was born. A member crew was born leagues from here. He spoke of a Korda of Hamet, Tolki, who resisted the church to the all-seeing. While his son watched, the priest made him drink a small portion of Nargach. They say that he burnt for days. Now, this phial of hungry fire is quite small. For how long do you think that you will burn? No! 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 I'll tell you what you want to know! Who helped you to escape my city? A water bearer named Saduk. Not Saduk. I want to know who suggested that he free you. I don't know. You still think it was one of us? The heirs of Costamere are finished. One of ours seeks to advance his position. Or her position. Let's see. I don't think any of the hers are likely to be the culprit there. Now, I think a certain dwarf, he sounds like someone who might, but that's an entirely different matter. Even through the haze of my fear, the realization dawned upon me. Not only do Osgoth and Akasi not trust one another, every member of the ruling kindred fears and distrusts the others. I don't think that's quite literally true, but there is a lot going on in there, that's for sure. I did not believe that I would live long enough to take advantage of this knowledge, but it brought to me a calm that I never thought to feel again. The kindred of the coins that displaced the heirs of Costamere will not much longer survive the rule of Umbar. The seeds of their undoing are already planted, and they have done it to themselves. That's always possible. The knowledge brought me peace, even as my new captors discussed the manner of my death. The time for you to die is now, Balakad. Nakasi, stop. The Nargak is too precious to waste on such as he. We will not want for Nagaki if your map proves true. But if it does not, you promised me the song will devastate Gondor, Osgoth. And it will, Nakasi. But we need not waste the hungry fire on the defeated enemy. Will you again use the pin that Koltek delivered from Karn Dûm? Oh, that's what was delivered from Karn Dûm. The That'l, the biter? I think not. The use of it leaves me unwell. I have not yet recovered from its use in Jerush. Let the desert take him then. So it sounds like the map leads to a stash of this fire. And is it some way related to the song or not? I'm not too sure about that yet. Well, that's quite a story.
They let me out into the desert with a ragged cloth tied over my eyes.
We walked for most of the night. At last, Nakasi hit me upon the head with the hilt of her weapon, and senselessly I collapsed onto the sand. When I awoke, there was no sign of them. The wind had covered their tracks. I sought to make my way northward under the burning sun, but thirst and delirium slowed my progress. I fell down rocky slopes and considered giving up, letting the sand cover me. But as death approached, I resolved not to let it end that way. Always I stood again, and continued my desperate march from the desert. Did I survive the desert only to fall victim to the unnatural sorceries of elves? No! No!
The King Tai will do nothing against your will, Balakad.
It'll do nothing against your will unless you want not the healing of your body and your mind. But I am most concerned with your description of the glass phial Nakasi kept upon her person. From this account it appears they possess a small quantity of Nargak, and seek to obtain more by making use of the map that Osgoth took from the Makda Corbo. My knowledge of this substance is limited, but it sounds very dangerous. Well, based on how he described it, yeah. At some point during the Balakad's tale, Celirtes regained her awareness. She turns now to you and with her eyes alight. I am intrigued by this man's story, and wish to know more about the villains who tortured him so. If I might help you prevent them from reaching their goal, I would do so. Such an adventure will surely forestall my fating, and that is not my only reason for suggesting it. I have before heard of this Nargach, the hungry fire, and my people will be endangered for as long as such a thing exists in this world. What more can Balakad tell us of the hungry fire? Well, what do you say? Balakad grimaces with pain and refuses to speak any further.
He knows more than what he wishes to say to us.
If we can better ease his pain, he may be willing to speak further of the hungry fire. Okay. Oh, I guess I have to choose one of these, don't I?
We must show know this man, we will harm him not, unless he inflicts some injury upon the Kinta people or our grove.
His hurts are severe, but if our healers are permitted to tend upon him, he may yet recover. Collect a jar from the front of the pavilion to fill with water from the deepest area of the pool. Speak also to Ithride nearby, for she is lately arrived from Vartuline and brings with her great knowledge of the healing arts. She may have some advice on the use of it. So collect a jar from the pavilion and talk to Ithride. Okay, and it looks like I have probably acquaintance. And it looks like I hit acquaintance. So let's see what we got here. Oh, I am supposed to find a jar. Ah, here's a jar right here. One oasis jar. Hello there.
I observed the two of you as you brought that dying man to Shonice. He trusts not my people.
People we share, perhaps we share that feeling. I dwelt in the emerald wood of Nisigim before the blight killed the trees, and it was men who unleashed it. No, it was not this man's doing. I know the lives of men are short, and he could not have been born when Nisigim withered. But I know also his kind. I am a healer. I will give you a cloth to dampen in the pool, so that his pains may be eased. Perhaps in gratitude he will leave the Kentai be and never return. Be sure to collect water from the deepest part of the pond. Water from the shallower reaches will not be as effective. All right, so I need to head out to the deepest part. That means swimming all the way through? Yeah, probably. Well, this is probably going to take a little while, right? Swim. I'm assuming that this... You dampen the cloth and fill the jar with water from the deepest part. Okay. Let's return then. Perhaps this will help.
Ah, you bring the items we sought from Idrite? Very good.
Alright. See how that works. You help Balakad hold the jar that you filled with clean water from the oasis, and he manages to drink. After a few moments, he looks at you with a guarded expression. We are not friends. These elves are alien to me, and I do not trust them. As soon as I am well enough to walk, I will leave this place and never return. But you and these elves are... You're right about something. If the kindred finds the hidden cache of Nargak that they seek... Balakad falls silent, mopping his forehead with the damp cloth that you brought from Ithride. In Gondor they named it Umbari fire, for they knew not now how long its use here in these lands, and only learned of it when it was used against them. But my father knew. He dreamt of harnessing it against his enemies, but even with all the men at his command, he could not find any stores of it. He believed that it was gone from this world. It should be gone. Azagoth and Akasi must not find that hidden stockpile that they seek. They will set the world aflame. Ooh, my. It's not going to be the song of waves and wind. It's going to be the song of fire and wind.
I would not agree with the heirs of Castamere about very many things. We have found the single exception.
We must catch up on our traveling companions and tell them we have learned from our Kori Sikhs. If Ciliartis is to join us, as she suggested to me, we will need to seek permission from Tharashil. All right. Well, back to the Thrashield. Hello again.
Is there no end to our travels?
I am the warden of this grove, but I have not the power to keep Celiartus from doing as she wishes. Had I that power, she might have already entered Throthood and begun to safely fade within a Veroth of her own. But I do not, and she insists upon fighting the process. If she truly wishes to go with you, I hope that you will keep her safe. She fights the fading, but I understand that the fight is painful, and even one so strong-willed as Celiartus cannot achieve victory in every battle. It is the lot of her people to fade, though she wishes otherwise.
The lands to the east are named Imhula by the Shagani people, and for the Pintai, they are full of memories.
Some of those memories are painful, for we remember when the northern reaches of the Emerald Wood grew there before it withered and died as a result of the blight wrought by the Orakai. But others of those memories are joyful. The spirits of my own parents remain in the grove of Vartulid in Imhular. They faded long ago, but whenever I walk beside their trees, I feel their presence. The Kenta warden of Vartulid is Thorvilon, and for decades he has sought to find some means of reversing the blight. I suggest that you speak with him as you walk in Imhular. Perhaps speaking with him will help Celiartus to accept what she must fade. I don't really believe that it will, but it is in my nature to remain hopeful. Alright, so I need to head over the river and into Imhular and see if we could find this place. But that will be not for the next episode, likely, because in the next episode, I have these other things to do to finish off the tasks that I have been given here, and also to find that spirit in there to give him the gift of water. And that's what we're going to do in the next episode of The Song of Waves and Wind.